Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a ton of changes that will definitely impact the meta. I thought this would come out with the update as far as bringing in the Carve 2. It just seems logical to combine that, but they decided to drop this a little bit randomly. So we're going to discuss the different changes. I'll kind of show you a little bit exactly what's happening and how big of an impact this is going to be. I think that double rifle meta is mostly gone, but we'll kind of see. Maybe there's some things that slip through the cracks. I think Cold War snipers are going to be back into the rotation because they kind of fixed that stealth nerf that they had at the start of season 3. So we'll talk about all that. If you enjoy the video, learn something new, please do me a favor, hit the like button. Goal in today's video is 10,000 likes, so hopefully you guys can destroy that number. And if you're brand new, want to find your way back for whatever reason, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. So pretty straightforward here. They had some basic gameplay changes, loot spawns in Verdansk and Rebirth. They've modified the Streetsweeper. They removed the common from ground loot, removed the uncommon, and then now these are only in supply boxes. So they went from like 4 or 5 different variants. Now there's only 2, and they're only available through supply boxes. So they're not just going to be littered all over the map. Kind of annoying. They got that fixed. So the Hauer 77 common variant added. So this is kind of what they've replaced those there. They added this to ground loot, and then they added these to supply boxes. And then they explained why. It was widely available dynamic where passive play was incentivized and rewarded. Basically camp, somebody pushes you, expecting you to have a regular gun that you can fight back with, and you just obliterate them too quickly. So they've kind of removed that to kind of speed up that pace of the game, especially at the beginning. Bugs, fix the bug where location map were allowed players out of bounds. There was like 6 or 7 of these on the map. There was one at train. There was one over by TV. There was one over by the salt mines. There was a lot of them. So they've addressed those. Fixed the bug causing player models to initially load a low resolution. Fixed a bug where the Cold War AK-47, FARA, XM4, and RPD, where they were having their ADS move speed and firing move speed decreased with the tactical and SAS combat stocks rather than an increase. So I don't think anyone really knew about that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be more, but I don't know. That one doesn't really make sense to me. Then here's all the nerfs and buffs. So we got a AMAX nerf, FARA nerf, Streetsweeper nerf, Bullfrog. It says like about the same. And this one, I think it's kind of like a buff because so many things got nerfed, which you'll see in a quick second. And it says FARA nerf, but so many things got destroyed. FFAR nerf, like a lot of stuff nerf. And then PPSH, pretty big buff, but not the right buff I would have done. Like, we'll talk about that. So AMAX, we'll talk about the actual data on these. So AMAX, they decreased the damage from 32 to 31 for the far range damage, which will impact the chest shot multiplier and the headshot. The FARA headshot multiplier change. This only impacts at range for the most part, maybe a little bit up close. And then base ADS speed move decreased by 7. And this is just to bring it back in line with the other Cold War rifles. So pretty straightforward there. Shotgun, hipfire spread increase. So that's a nerf. Recoil increase, nerf. ADS speed reduced, nerf. So these are all nerfs for the shotgun Streetsweeper. Bullfrog, maximum damage decrease from 34 to 32. This only impacts one section, which we'll see how this impacts it. They increased the range by 11%, so that's a buff. Movement speed by 1%, negligible, but still a buff. Increase sprint out speed, which is huge for a hipfire build. If you want to go for hipfire builds, I think that's going to be pretty nutty because now you got faster sprint out. You're going to be able to just spam right away. You get the bullets off a little bit quicker. PPSH, maximum damage range increased, which this is irrelevant. It was a pretty good range anyways. They should have increased the damage up close so that it killed him like 1 less bullet, but they did what they did. And then the killer of the PPSH, which totally destroyed its TTK, which is this open bolt delay, decreased by 80%. So that's a huge, you'll notice that, especially if you spam the trigger, how big a difference it is now than before. Here's where everything gets a little bit wonky. Barrels, combat snipers, combat recons for the snipers, they've increased it by 12%. They didn't actually increase it by 12%. They just reverted the busted nerf that they did on all of them because this does not apply to the Swiss. The Swiss didn't see any benefit in this. The idle sway, this is a huge difference. They've actually decreased it by 30%. So that's good. Idle sway is having less of it is good. And then optics, the 3x on the Cold War one, optic behavior improved. And then stocks, they basically went through and nerfed all the mobility of all these stocks for mobility in all the Cold War guns. So pretty straightforward. They said, finally, we'd like to address, I'm going to go through the differences too. So finally, we would like to address the concerns that we're only going to be making changes to Cold War weapons. In the future, we are fully intend to take a look at the Modern Warfare weapons that have been struggling. And as always, please continue to share your feedback. We are always listening. Even if they can't act quick enough, they are listening. So let's go ahead and take a look at what changed. So just as a heads up, I did test and I wanted to show you the mobility difference. We'll see it in number value, but here is the mobility difference right now of the FARA. This was pre-nerf. So pretty decent speed. We go to the other one with the firing. Cracked out movement speed. I used the exact same setup. And then what we were able to find out. So here's the exact same thing now. And then here it is while firing. So even just by looks, significantly slower. I went through and tested that for a few things. You can see some of the stuff on the spreadsheet here. We'll go ahead and check out the spreadsheet now. So luckily, I already kind of had an idea they were nerfing stuff because they told us. So I was able to make sure I put everything together. What we're looking at now is the yellow. The yellow is what changed. And that's what we're seeing a difference here. So this is the original Bullfrog. This is the original FARA. This is the original AMAX. And then this is what happened. So they got the buff to the Bullfrog, which increased its range, but they changed its chest shot damage and stomach, which isn't enough to actually change the headshot. It doesn't really modify it. But what we can see here is it's going to be 2 headshots because these now are doing less damage to the body to get a 7-shot kill instead of 1. So even with 2 headshots, you'll still get a really good TTK. Other than that, it'll be pretty average along the line of other SMGs. This change allows it so that you get a lot of other weapons involved. You get the LC-10, both of the Cold War MP5, Modern Warfare MP5, as well as a bunch of other SMGs that we'll probably talk about in the future. But this opens the door on SMGs being that close range meta again. So other than that, no other changes. And then obviously the mobility, but we talked about that. And then we have the FARA. They went and modified the headshot damage. So you can see how that impacts it. It doesn't actually change the shots to kill. For the first damage, and then for the second damage, it adds 1 more shot to kill at range because it could kill too fast at range. But at the end of the day, not a huge difference because it doesn't change the 1-shot kill. It makes it so that you can't get these absurd TTKs. So for the first damage up close, this is gonna be good sniper support still. It's just not gonna have the insane mobility. You might want to use the RAM if you like the optics better. I don't know. Depends. There's gonna be preference-based stuff. At range, it didn't really change the TTK much. And now you have to land 5 headshots. So they basically removed the ability to get these TTKs because, you know, now it's always going to be 608 or 684, 9 to 10 shots to kill with 2 headshots. So nothing crazy. The AMAX, which a lot of people are worried about, right? Let's zoom in a little bit on the AMAX. So with the AMAX, what they've done is they modified this damage value, which creates an extra shot to kill. So instead of 8 shots to kill like we see here, it bumps it up to 9 with 1 bullet difference. But that damage modifies the chest and the head. So now we're going to get a little bit different damage, but those are still 5 shots to kill. Before you needed 5 chest shots to get a 7-shot kill. Now you need 6. So they added 1 more chest shot that you need to get an 8-shot kill. So to decrease it, you only need to land 1 chest shot. So you won't notice a huge difference on that end. But the next part is where it gets a little bit tricky. 2 headshots before was 6-shot to kill. Now you need 3. So 6-shot to kill is going to be a little bit harder to get than it was before, which this balances the gun pretty good. Will it still be good? Still be meta? We'll have to wait to see kind of how everything shuffles into place. I think that wasn't enough to push it out of the bounds. I think people still enjoy it. I think because this TTK, the 8-shot TTK, is still obtainable with 1 chest shot, basically you're not going to feel like the difference unless you're in certain gunfights. And the biggest gunfights where you'll notice if somebody's on a head glitch and you're trying to beam them, before you only needed 2 headshots, now you need 3. So besides that, you know, that's the big difference. So let's go ahead and talk about these strafe speed stuff. So I went through, like I said, and tested it. This was pre-nerf FARA Strafe Speed with firing and FARA Strafe Speed. It was 18% faster than the RAM regular Strafe Speed. And then for the Strafe while firing, it was 58%. Now, with the regular FARA Strafe Speed, it's only 3% faster than the RAM. Only 3%, from 18 down to 3%. With the exact same builds that we showed off with the fastest strafe speed possible. And that is like a huge difference. And then while firing, it went from 59% all the way down to about 12%. This is going to be very, very noticeable because now while firing, you strafe slower than your original strafe speed that we had before. Huge mobility nerf. This makes it so that you end up with a much slower gun. Anyone who's aggro is probably going to avoid the double rifle meta. And like I said, they're going to be switching to LC10, Bullfrog, MP5 will be taking over again, along with shotguns, obviously. Those always have a place. We just don't talk about them much because we don't want people to encourage that behavior. But it is what it is, right? And then with the barrel attachments, they said they buffed the combat. That looks to be a lie. Because when I test the Swiss, it looked like no change. The Pellington, you get about 961 bullet velocity. And then the Tundra was up to about 1150. So you got the options there, what you want to use. Tundra with the less idle sway, we'll kind of have to find out. I'm not a sniper guy. I don't really like snipe with these. I would rather just use a Kar 98. It's simpler. It does the job typically better. SPR, that type of stuff. But if you like Cold War guns, now the bullet velocity is back, at least for the Tundra. I think the Pellington, still nothing special, 961. It's close to the Kar 98 there, but nothing crazy. It is what it is. So let me know what you guys think is going to be the meta down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, learned something new, please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're brand new and looking to find your way back for whatever reason, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.